Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Michael, you're watching IDB, and in this video I want to share some things that you should do and features you should try if you just got a new iPhone. It's that time of year where everybody seems to be getting new iPhones as a gift or a Christmas gift, so I figured it's a perfect time to make this video. If you are switching from a very old iPhone to a new iPhone, here are some things that you should try on your fancy new iPhone. So before I jump in, I just want to say, even though the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro are the newest iPhones, a lot of these features I'll be showing you work on older iPhones as well. The first one I want to show you though is exclusive to the iPhone 16. I just love this feature so much, and it is the upgraded photographic styles. So here inside of the camera, if you click on this button on the top right, this is your photographic styles menu. And here you can see I've chosen the gold profile because I find it looks really nice and gives a nice warm hue to my photos. You can swipe through and choose any style that fits your preference. If you go to the right past standard, they get a bit more dramatic. You can see we have vibrant, natural, luminous. This one looks crazy. So if I go ahead and take a photo in this style, you can see this looks quite dramatic, and this isn't what it looks like in real life. But what's great about this feature is that it's non-destructive to the actual photo. So you can actually change the photographic style after you've taken it. If I click on edit, so here is styles, and here we can swipe between any photographic style, and it was non-destructive to the original file. So if you took a photo in this certain mood and you don't like it, you can change it to back to standard, for example. You can also pick any other style that you want. The next thing you should do if you just got a new iPhone is customize your lock screen, because the default lock screen out of the box is very, very boring. The first thing is iPhone lock screens can support widgets, and they've actually been able to support widgets for a very long time. So here on the lock screen, when you're in edit mode, if you click below the time, you can actually add in widgets. So here I can add, let's say, the weather, and then maybe my activity rings, and I'll scroll down a bit and pick one. So let's say deliveries, and then I'll add my deliveries widget in here. So now my lock screen instantly got that much more useful with widgets right underneath the time. But then on top of this, now you can edit the lock screen toggles, and you can see I've already changed it. So the default ones were flashlight and camera. I actually like having flashlight on the bottom left, but I don't really need the camera shortcut on my lock screen because my iPhone 16 has the dedicated camera button. So you can see I've set mine to ChatGPT. I'll remove it and add it again to show you how it works. So here is your controls gallery, and you can choose any of these controls to have on your lock screen. If I scroll down a bit, you can see I have open ChatGPT. Then if I click on done, here is our newly customized lock screen. If I want to open up weather, I can click on the widget just like this. It opens up weather. And I can also press and hold on my new ChatGPT widget and open up ChatGPT just like this. And then just going a little bit further, you can also change the color if you want to. So if you click back on lock screen, then click on the time, you can choose any color for your clock as well. This rainbow one is a new one. You can also choose any color here in the slider. And staying on the theme of customizing stuff, I want to now talk about the home screen, because in iOS 18, the latest update, we can now customize our home screen quite a bit more than we could before. So press and hold in some blank space, then press on edit on the top left. And then if you press on customize, you can see we have a bunch of options for our home screen. First is we can simply choose if we want to have small or large icons. And if we choose large, it gets rid of the icon labels, which I actually kind of like. I'm just going to leave it as the default for now. You can also choose to have light mode, dark mode, automatic, or tinted icons. If you have light mode, it's going to be the basic default iPhone icons. If you go into dark mode, you can see all of the icons are going to change into more of a dark view. If we have automatic, the system is going to respond. So if you are in light mode, the icons are going to be light. And if you are in dark mode like this, you can see the icons are going to adapt. And then finally, we can choose tinted icons as well. So if you want to give your icons and widgets a nice color to match your wallpaper, you can also do this. And I just can't believe that this is a non-jailbroken iPhone because now it looks so customized. But if you want to really give your iPhone that look to make it truly yours, this is definitely what you should do on your home screen. And then the final thing in terms of customizing the software is I'd recommend customizing your control center, because chances are when you're moving from your old iPhone to this new iPhone, I'm gonna guess that you never customize your control center on your old iPhone. Probably because you weren't able to in the first place because the software didn't allow you to. But now in iOS 18, I really would recommend taking some time to customizing your control center, because you can make this exactly how you want it to be. So if you press and hold in blank space in Control Center, you can see that we can move anything, we can resize anything. So at the bottom, you can click Add a Control, and you might recognize this page. This is, again, the Controls Gallery, and it's the same gallery we had access to when we were picking a toggle for our lock screen. You can have any one of those inside of Control Center. So you can scroll through anything, and you also have third-party applications in here as well. So for example, if you want to add Snapchat right into Control Center, you can do that. And all of these widgets are resizable as well. So if you take the grabber on the bottom of each one, you can make them bigger. And on top of adding widgets and resizing widgets in your Control Center, you also have multiple pages of Control Center as well. You can scroll, and this first one is your media playback, and the next one is your connectivity page. All right, this next one is more of a hardware feature, less of a software one. But if your new iPhone has an ultra-wide camera that supports macro photos, I would definitely recommend trying out macro shots because it is so fun. So I'll open up the camera and I'll go into 0.5. And when you're in 0.5, you can bring your iPhone so close to so many things. So here is a PlayStation remote. I can get really close and you can see all the dirt and grime on my thumbstick. And what looks really cool is the HomePod as well. So if I get really close to the HomePod, you can see all of the detail in that mesh. So I think this is a very overlooked and underrated feature. So if you got your new iPhone, I definitely recommend trying out that new 0.5 macro camera, as you can have a lot of fun with this. And going on top of that, a lot of these new iPhones support 48 megapixel photos, which really is a lot of fun. And honestly, I don't think I've been using it as much as I should. So open up Settings. You then want to find Camera, then scroll down a bit and click on Formats. And then you'll see here we have Pro RAW and Resolution Control. Simply turn this on, and then I'd recommend choosing HEIF Max. HEIF stands for High Efficiency Image Format, and then you can choose up to 48 megapixels. If you choose Pro RAW, that's more of a professional photographer mode, and those photos are going to take up a lot of storage. But just for you as a normal iPhone user, I'd recommend choosing HEIF Max. And this way you can get pretty much a basic image file, but all the way up to 48 megapixels. So now that you've turned this on, when you're inside of Photos, you'll see a new button at the top that says HEIF Max. And if you press this, you are now shooting in 48 megapixels. I would only recommend using this when you're in a ultra high lighting situation. So a bright summer day and it's like 2 p.m. and the sun is all the way high up in the sky. That's when I'd recommend using it, not in like a dark environment here. I wouldn't even use it when I'm home, just because the pixels on the sensor are so small when you're using the 48 megapixel mode that it might not look very good. However, when you get this in the correct lighting, when you're shooting in 48 megapixels, it can look fantastic. The next thing I want to talk about is what's called the dynamic island. You may be coming from an older iPhone that has a notch, and you discover that your new iPhone has this really weird, mysterious pill-shaped cutout. This is actually called the dynamic island, and on top of making your iPhone look a lot more immersive, it also serves a purpose. It is a home for your system alerts and your ongoing activities. So here on my iPhone, I'm doing a screen recording. I don't know if it's going to show up in the final recording, so I'll simply show you my iPhone. But you can see the island shows a little red dot showing that my screen is being recorded. If I go into another application like Clock and I start a stopwatch, as soon as I go home, you can see that that now lives in the island. And if I want to check on the status of that stopwatch, I can simply press and hold on it like this. And I can also simply tap on it to go back to the original application. And the island is just so useful for everything I do every single day, whether I'm playing music or I'm on a phone call or I'm simply opening up my AirPods case and putting them in my ear. The island simply bubbles out and shows me my battery. Also, if I find my favorite application, which is Sports Alerts, let's go ahead and find a hockey game that's on right now, and I can add this into the island as well. So I'll click on Start Live Activity and then go home. And now, as you can see, I now have this hockey game always updating in the background. I can press and hold to check the score just like this. This is really where the island shines, in my opinion, is not just stock applications, but third-party applications. So such as Sports Alerts and even Uber is fantastic if you want to see where your ride is really quickly. This next feature I want to show you is more of a hardware feature. If your new iPhone has USB-C, which there's a very good chance it does because the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 16 both have USB-C. But if your new iPhone has USB-C, you can charge other things using your iPhone. So I'll just do an example live on camera here. So here I have a cable. If I plug this into my iPhone, and I'll take the other end and plug it into this PlayStation remote right here, if I can find the hole. my PlayStation remote is going to start charging, as you can see by the light turning on. So this is really awesome if you're on a road trip or something and you just want to quickly charge up an accessory. I've used this countless times to charge up my AirPods and even my Apple Watch. You can see here it can also charge other accessories as well. So definitely don't skimp on the USB-C port on your iPhone. It is a lot more than just charging your iPhone. You can share power and you can actually share the love to other accessories. All right, next up is the action button. The action button is on the iPhone 15 Pro and every single iPhone 16 model, and it replaces the mute switch on the iPhone. So the action button is fantastic for doing anything quickly. And for me, I didn't like having the mute switch there because my iPhone was always in silent mode as is, so I didn't really need the switch. So here inside of settings, if I scroll down, you can click on action button, and here you can choose any action. So if you want your action button to be able to Shazam music, you can do this. If you want your action button to turn on the flashlight, you can set it to this. But mine was set to a shortcut, which opened up ChatGPT. So I chose a shortcut, and then I chose open ChatGPT, just like this. And now every time I press and hold on the action button, it's gonna open ChatGPT just like that. So if I were you on your new iPhone, if it has an action button, I recommend poking through all of these options as you can get a lot of use out of this new button. I also want to mention the all-new iPhone 16 and 16 Pro's button. This is camera control. So if you got any of the new iPhone 16 models, you have this new button on the side of your iPhone, and the first press allows you to open up the camera, but you can do a lot more with this button. So if you do a double half press, you can go into different modes. So you can change the depth, the exposure, the zoom, different cameras, the styles, and the tone. And then when you are in a different mode like zoom, you can also use the camera control to zoom in and out just like this. So this camera control is really, really cool, and it just adds that extra layer of professionalism into the iPhone's camera. And when you're taking a photo like this, it really feels more like a point and shoot camera with the button right here. And then the final thing I want to mention for this video, if you got a new iPhone, is satellite connectivity. Satellite connectivity is available on the iPhone 14, 15, and 16 series. So if you got a new iPhone this year, I can almost guarantee that it supports satellite connectivity. You can actually do a demo of this feature. So if you go into Control Center, then go to your connectivity page, you can see at the bottom we see satellite. And if we press this, we can press on Try Demo. Now, I think if I do this, it's going to end my screen recording, but I'll try it anyway. I guess it's going to keep going, so that's good. So here we can try a satellite connection demo. If I try connecting to a satellite, it's going to turn off everything on my iPhone, so cellular and Wi-Fi. And I'm inside the house here, so I don't know if it's going to find my phone. I'm going to raise it up here, see if I can get it to connect to something. And you can see it says satellite available soon. So if I keep holding my iPhone up, let's see if it finds a satellite. And it looks like I found one. Keep pointing at satellite. There is a window right to my right, so let's see if it can work. I'm pointed right at the satellite. Oh, demo complete. So it connected to the satellite, and if you are out stranded somewhere off grid, you can connect to a satellite just as you saw me do here, and you can send a message to emergency services. And this is a feature that could potentially save your life. And then these features that use satellite also go beyond emergencies. So if you are off the grid and you have no Wi-Fi, no cell connection, you can actually share your location with friends and family in the Find My application using satellite. And also in the new iOS 18 update, you can now send text messages, RCS messages, and iMessages over satellite, which is really, really awesome. Apple says that they're going to start charging for this feature after 2 years. And this feature was introduced with the iPhone 14. That phone is now 2 years old, and we haven't heard any word from Apple on if they're gonna start charging for this feature, which is a good thing, but I'm just afraid that in the future, they're all of a sudden gonna say, okay, this feature is now paid. So if you keep buying a new iPhone every 2 years, I guess you're good, but just keep in mind that this feature may become a paid feature down the road. So that's going to do it for this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite feature was I covered, and if you got a new iPhone this year, also let me know which iPhone model you got in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and yeah, happy holidays, happy new year, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.